Having an assistant in your art fair booth can help your day go so much smoother. From having someone help you with setup, to checking out customers, or to giving you a break when you really need it. But there are some things, some pitfalls to having an assistant, and if you're not using them correctly in your booth, it could lose you a lot of money. So in this video, I want to go over some of the things that I've learned over the last 10 years of doing art fairs and using an assistant to help me in my booth. Whether you've got a friend or family member volunteering to help you, or you have paid help, here are some of the tasks that helpers are really good for. And first is setup and tear down. It's always a lot of work to set up your art fair tent, hang all of your art, get everything looking the way it needs to. It's a lot of heavy lifting, and it's sometimes hours and hours of work. I know for me personally, it takes me and my helper about 4 hours, sometimes 5 hours to set up my booth, and then about an hour to tear down the booth at the end of the show. And so this is a lot of work, and having someone else there, an extra set of hands, is a lifesaver. Next is art booth maintenance during the show. So like helping you keep everything neat and tidy, restocking print bins, helping you find something that a customer is looking for in a print bin, also helping you with checkout. For instance, if you are packaging a really large painting or sculpture and you need someone else there, an extra set of hands to wrap the bag around it or shrink wrap it, however you are preparing to give it to the customer, so that way they can safely transport it to their vehicle in their home. Also, if you trust the person with taking your money, it's a really good use of them to run your checkout. This way you are free to talk to customers while they are taking the customer's credit card or making change. And like I mentioned before, also giving you a break. They are a great booth sitter for you. So if you need to leave to take a lunch break or a bathroom break, you know you have somebody to cover your booth, make sure things don't get stolen, and potentially check out customers while you're away. Now for the things that you should not use your helper for. At least I've learned in my experience not to do so. And this is the sales process. You want your customer's first point of contact to be you, the artist. You don't want your helper out there at the front of your booth talking to people and inviting them in and trying to sell your work, and then having you back doing the checkout and barely talking to customers, because this will not sell your work as well as if you are the person out there talking to customers. If they're trying to find an art print, you're the one searching for it for them. If they're interested in the piece, you're the one sharing the story about the work. And this is because no one can represent your work and your passion about what you create better than you. And also the customer, when they come to these types of events, they are craving interaction with the creators of all of the artwork. They don't really care so much to talk to somebody who's just doing sales. Even if that person is the creator's family member, they would always rather talk to the artist. And remember, the story behind your artwork is what sells it. And this is why it's so important to share those stories in your booth. And the person working for you, they may not even know the stories behind the pieces that you're selling. And so if they can't tell the story, they can't engage with the customers, then they are not going to make the level of sales that you will as the artist. And in case you're wondering if it's just that I'm not training my salespeople correctly, I've tried a lot of things over the years, both at my art gallery that I had in a mall for several years and also at all of the art fairs I've done over the last decade. And I've never been able to train anyone, no matter how good they've been at sales at a previous job, to be able to sell my artwork as well as I do. And by trying to allow other people to sell my work so that way I could train them to get other people to be able to do the job that I do with the art fairs, so then I could scale my business, I've lost a lot of sales doing this and a lot of money. And honestly, it was a really frustrating process, so much so that I went out and asked lots of other really seasoned artists who have been out selling at art fairs for a lot longer than me what they did, like how they used their helpers in their booth to sell their work as well as they would be able to sell their work. And across the board, all of them told me that I just have to give up on that, and that it is never going to work out as well as if I'm the one selling to the customers. One person even told me, who's been doing this 30 years, that if you train someone and they are the perfect salesperson, you will always make 15 or 20% less money than you make if you are out there doing the sales. Now, I think this is a really high goal to reach toward, because if I allow allow other people to run my booth and I'm not in there doing the sales, my sales will almost plummet to nothing. And so if I was only dropping 20%, I think I would say that's acceptable, but my sales would drop drastically to the point that I don't think I would profit at the show if I'm not the one out there selling the work. And so if I can leave you with any message in this video, use your helpers for everything else but the sales process. Now, you also might be wondering how to best set your helpers up for success in your booth. And one of the things I've learned is to give them very clear instructions at the beginning of the show as to what roles they are going to play within your booth. Because if you can do that, then everything is going to go a lot smoother. If you want to have them exclusively run your checkout, then tell them that is where they stand, that's the area of the booth they man, and to not bother with doing anything else unless the customer comes up and asks them a specific question. Also, another thing I think is really important is I see sometimes people have helpers with them and the person will help during setup and teardown, but the rest of the time they're basically just sitting behind the booth doing nothing. And I think this is not a wise use of your assistant. Even if they're a volunteer, give them something else to do during the event. For one, it's going to stop them from being so bored, because if they're just sitting behind your booth the whole time, I mean, it's not helping you. They're probably bored out of their mind just sitting back there. They're not having a good time. The time is actually probably passing really slow for them. And by doing that to this person, by making them super bored, like, they're probably not going to want to come back and help you too many more times after that. So it's better to give them something to do so they feel like they're being useful and they're keeping busy a little bit and they're not so bored. And it also helps you more because you're getting more work out of this person, whether they're a volunteer or a paid helper. But definitely if they're a paid helper, don't just pay somebody to sit behind your booth. Put them to work. Get them to do your checkout. Get them to help clean things around the booth or restock things. Give them something to do, even if it's just going out, like let's say you run out of change, going out and getting change, going out and getting some Starbucks because it's the middle of the day and you're running low on energy. Just give them some tasks to do that are going to help you. Well, if you found this video helpful and you would like to learn some of the other things that I've learned during my time of doing art fairs, check out this video. All right, thank you so much for watching. See you next time.